because I don't need one. My name is Elaine Castle. I am the District 6 Director, and I'm here to introduce your presenters. Over here, we have the Region Treasurer, Evie Wright. Evie's superstar quality is being able to pull seemingly random bits of information out of her brain right when that information is needed. Yes, she can.
Or not needed.
Yeah, or not needed. And as great as our S&R treasurer, and also makes her pretty good at trivia. Then, her gal Friday over here, Danielle Kennedy, who is the S&R Public Awareness Chair and the website coordinator. Danielle's superstar quality is breaking down complex tech and turning it into something anyone can understand. Like turning text speak into plain speech to save the day. And I will say, I have been at the receiving end when I have been wanting to throw my laptop out the window. And I call her and she talks me down, and then my laptop's safe for another couple months. So enjoy, ladies. I'm off to do whatever else I gotta do.
Okay, so we're gonna, sorry. I don't really need to be there, but I'll use it because that's what you're supposed to do. Like she said, I am Evie, right? I am the Region Treasurer. This is my 4th and final year as Region Treasurer. I am term limited. Don't cry for me. And this presentation used to be 2 sessions, but now it's 1, so we are going to hit the ground running and go, okay? If you have questions along the way, please feel free to ask them. It'll take too long to pass the microphone back and forth, so I'll just repeat questions so everyone can hear them. Okay. So you have all the slides in your folders, and those are for you to take notes. This presentation will also be available online. It's being recorded, and the PowerPoint will be available online for you. It all has clickable links, so you'll be able to go in and click to get to wherever you need. Okay, this is my information. This is where you send all dues and remittances to the region, and you're welcome to call me, but I get so much spam that I generally don't answer the phone. So if you do that, leave me a message and I'll call you back. Email's better because then it's in writing and everyone knows what's up. So I prefer email. Here's some other contact information for the various entities that we'll be talking about today. And this will be given to you again later. And then here is the agenda, the things that we're going to be talking about. So your duties and best practices, paying dues, which most of you have already done this year. I love talking about something right after you've already done it. Audit of the government, federal and state, licensing and fees, and a little bit about insurance at the end, which I know is a hot topic right now. Okay, let's start with your duties. So, if you are starting from scratch, the guidelines on the SIA website are a great place to start. You should also have some club documents that can give you some guidance if you're new to this. Your bylaws, policies and procedures, any standing rules, succession planning documents. If you don't have a binder, whether virtual or paper, that has what you're supposed to do as treasurer, that's a great thing to develop. My club has one. If your club doesn't, we're happy to share ours and you can just change it to work for you. There's no point in reinventing the wheel, okay? Okay, big picture. So this is an overview of the topics we'll be covering as far as your duties as treasurer. You can see a list of them. I'm not going to read them to you. Let's start with bank signature cards. So you need to do this as soon as possible after the beginning of the club year, and I would say by the end of July at the latest. You need to have the new signers on the account set up. So in order to do that, generally, you need a letter to the bank with the names of who's coming off the account and who's going onto the account. And usually they like to have the minutes of the meeting where the election results are, or this is all recorded somewhere. Oftentimes they will need a driver's license or some form of identification for each person. Yeah, for security. Sometimes they want everyone to go in, sometimes you can take a signature form around and turn it back in. It depends on the bank, you'll need to ask them. Sorry. If it's a brand new bank, they're probably gonna ask for your club bylaws. And we just opened a new bank account a couple of years ago with the region. I had to turn in Secretary of State filings and like charter documents and our 501c3 stuff, so they'll tell you what they need, but as treasurer, you should probably have a copy of all of that at your disposal. Yes?
Do the club bylaws say who would be the signatories on the bank account?
Okay, that's a great question. We're actually, like, who should be a signer? Yeah, that's next.
Okay, sorry.
So, signers are people who are signing your checks. Best practices is you should have 2 signatures. That protects you, it's an extra layer of oversight. In the end, it's your butt on the line, so you're gonna wanna cover yourself as much as you can, and 2 signatures will help you do that. It also helps catch mistakes. I have written a check that was wrong, and the governor's like, oh, this doesn't match, you know? And great, perfect, I went and wrote another check, we voided it, we called it a day. But you're not going to be perfect, so having 2 people is really gonna help you here. Signers, this goes to your question. It's usually the treasurer. If you have an assistant treasurer, that's great. Board members. It's usually a secretary or someone else who's on the board. Boards are made up of different clubs have different types of board members, but typically you want it to be a board member. But it needs to be a treasurer, and if you don't have an assistant treasurer, I would consider making that a position so that they have a year to learn before they come on. Okay, does that answer your question?
Well, I didn't know if like the club bylaws actually specify that level of detail, or if they're supposed to.
We have, for my club, that's in our procedures.
Okay.
Yeah. Really important, signers should not have access to the PO box. So let's say your president checks the PO box, your president shouldn't be a signer. You keep the duties separate, they open the mail, they look at the mail, they give you the mail, you pay the bills. Because if a bill comes to the PO box and no one knows that it's supposed to be paid, or money comes to the PO box and no one knows it came, and you abscond, who's gonna know? So it's just an extra level of protection. Really, really important. Sometimes things happen and people quit mid-year for various reasons. If someone who is a signer leaves the club, you need to go to the bank immediately and have them removed. Because if they're a signer, at most banks, they can go in and drain the bank account. So protect yourself, take them off. I know I'm a little doom and gloom, but it is what it is. Questions? Yes?
Who would you suggest does have access to the PO box then?
The president, and maybe the vice president or president-elect.
In my case, they're signers.
Secretary?
Maybe secretary?
Secretary, someone who's not a signer, yeah.
Yeah, in our club, we have a large club, but we have the treasurer, treasurer-elect, or assistant treasurer, and the president and president-elect, they are the signers on the bank account, and the treasurer writes the checks but does not sign them. 2 other people sign them. And then our recording, or our corresponding secretary is what she's called, or it could be a regular secretary. She checks and keeps a log of everything that comes in the mail and then distributes it to the right people.
See, that's perfect. It's a perfect amount of oversight. That's great.
Do you have your card?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the biggest part of your job is going to be receiving and depositing funds and then writing checks. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Try and record all funds and deposit them immediately. Don't take a check from someone and say, oh, I'll write down what that's for later, and then a week and a half, you're like, what was this for? Or someone hands you a 5 or whatever. Literally, a half an hour ago, someone handed me a check, and I immediately wrote on a piece of paper and paper clipped it together and put it in my envelope. So, because you're not gonna remember. So treat this like, as you would your own personal funds. And it doesn't matter what recording system you have as long as you have one. Okay? Depositing should be done as soon as possible after receipt. Please do not hold on to cash. It's a really bad idea. What did I do? Okay. Also, proceeds from an event should be turned over to you. So if you're not at the event and it's a fundraising thing, whoever takes the money needs to get it to you ASAP, because you are ultimately responsible for the funds. Danielle stopped. It's not going forward. See, Gal Friday. Oh, I can just do it that way, that's fine. Thank you. Okay. Okay, best practices for counting money. Count to the same day, if possible. If your event ends at like 10 p.m. and you don't want to count it right then, count it the next morning. And you should always have 2 people count the money. Because again, people make mistakes, and if you have 2 people counting, then you can make sure you agree. Hey, I counted this and I got 872. Oh, I got 873, and then you know that you need to recount it, both of you, to make sure that you agree. Make sure that you are recording the information and that you're both signing the record of the funds to say, yeah, we looked at this. And you should always be one of the 2 people counting, because you're ultimately responsible. Yeah.
So what we do at our club, so like when we have our weekly lunch and everybody pays their money, so 2 people prepare the deposit in the deposit envelope, and they count it and they sign it.
Yep.
And then we have a log, they log it on, and then I pick it up and I sign it at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I take it home and count it again and take it to the bank.
Perfect. Yeah. As long as it all matches, you know?
Evie,
Yes.
we have an assistant treasurer and a treasurer, and so typically we've had the assistant treasurer handle the money and the treasurer record the money. Is that
Great.
That's what we do.
appropriate?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't forget to separate out the start funds. Don't count that as income. That happens sometimes and it'll mess you up. So count your money, but separate out the start funds and deposit those separately so that you can easily see, hey, I pulled out $200 for the cash box, now I'm depositing that $200 back. Okay, handling money. Yeah, don't leave cash lying around. That's pretty obvious. Carry it with you if you have to go somewhere. If you have a cash box and you're working, I don't know, a beer booth at a fair or whatever, and you need to turn around, close it, put your hand on top before you turn around to talk to someone, or pick it up and turn it. Even if you turn your back for a second, someone could take it and run. So just, don't leave it laying around. Also, and people have some difficulty with this, but it's a good idea to have someone take the record and someone take the money, or someone take a copy of the record, if you need to have 2 copies, just so someone else has proof of that, so that the person who takes the money doesn't walk away with it and then go, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no proof of that money.
That's why we have a log.
Separate, yeah. Have some kind of separate recording that stays away from the money until it's deposited. It's just a good idea. Okay, you are also going to spend time paying bills. Before you write a check, you need to review the budget. If expenditures are not budgeted, you shouldn't pay them. If you have budgeted $500 for, I don't know, pick something. New members. And you got a bumper crop of new members, and so you need to write a check to the region for $600 for those new members. You need to increase the budget. You should never write more than what the budget allows, and anything where you increase the budget needs to be voted on and approved by your club. That's just good practice. Documentation is very, very important, and making sure that things are properly authorized is very, very important. If you don't have an expense voucher for your club, I highly suggest that you make one. It can be very, very simple. But if someone is requesting reimbursement, it is on them to fill out that form and provide the receipt. You shouldn't be running after people for stuff. If they want to get paid, they need to give you the proper documentation. And beyond that, do not pay someone back without a receipt. At all. Don't write a check, don't use your credit card, don't do anything without having some kind of something that says what that's for that you can put together. It's really, really important. Like I just said.
Should that be an itemized receipt also?
I guess it depends on what it's for. You know, like,
Because who knows what that receipt was?
well, the receipt should
What that money
say,
was,
yeah, I mean, the receipt should say what they bought, sure, I
what
guess.
service they-
Or what the purpose is, yeah, any receipt. If you're reimbursing for mileage though, something as simple as a Google map works fine. So you just need some kind of backup to why they're getting that money back.
Edie,
Yes,
we have several members that use their own personal funds for purchases, fundraisers, whatever, that they're we're making items, or making craft items, you name it, they just never ask for reimbursement.
right,
And we found, over the last year that we lost a couple of members, and some of those members were the ones that were never asking for reimbursement. So we weren't really getting a true picture of what some of our events were costing us. So we're asking now, we have a part of our expense voucher, we have a separate column for in-kind. So even if you don't want reimbursement, you're still required to give the treasurer an accounting of what you've spent.
yes, that's really, really important for budgeting purposes, absolutely. And that's something that the region struggles with, because people are like, oh, I don't need to be reimbursed, and then we're like, but we don't know how much to budget, you need to do it for the next person. Yeah, so that's good that you have that. If you don't have that on your expense voucher, I highly suggest that you have a section that says, I don't want to be reimbursed, but this is what I spent. Yeah,
And if anyone needs a reimbursement expense voucher, you can borrow the regions.
Yeah.
It's a download link, mark it up, use it for yourself. And it does have the donation on the end where I don't want any money back.
yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet, so
Yeah,
it's
just
fillable,
Excel.
it's lovely, yeah. Okay, let's move on to paying bills with ATMs, cards, etc. You probably shouldn't have a debit card. Credit cards are fine. The problem with having a debit card is if someone steals the card number and uses it, I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone where you've had someone access your bank account, but it can take forever to get that money back if it happens at all. If someone steals your credit card and you call the credit card company, more often than not, they're like, cool, and they take care of it right away. But bank accounts don't work like that. So don't have an ATM card if you can help it, because that just means no one gets to access the account unless they walk into a bank and they're a signer, okay? If you use online bill pay, it's fine, but you're still gonna need the backup documentation, because the IRS is still gonna want that if they decide to audit you. And your internal audit committee, which you should have, which we will talk about, will also need that. You need the backup. It's even if it's something as simple as an email. You wrote an email, please let me know that you received these funds that were for blah, 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 and they write back, yes, I received them, and there you go. You know, pretty simple. But you need something that says where the money went and why.
How do you have two people write a check if you do online bill pay?
You can also do that through an email. You can say, you know,
Oh, they can, I see.
Signer, whoever, do you authorize this payment? Yes, I authorize this payment. Yeah. That's a really good question. You should not be paying bills in cash, because cash is really hard to track. I mean, you should be dealing with as little cash as possible, and it should always be coming in, not going out, if possible, unless you need it for like a cash box or something. All of this is to protect you, because again, in the end, you're the one who's ultimately responsible. Okay. You should be reconciling the bank account every single month. This is really, really important. You should attach the copy of the reconciliation to the bank statement and file it away in a binder. The region, 2 months ago, I was reconciling the account as I normally do, and I was like, what is that $7 that came out of that account? That's weird. It was fraud. I don't know why they chose a money market account and why they did $7, but I found it right away. I was able to call the bank. It took about 3 weeks for them to run it through their fraud department and put the money back. But if it had been $10,000, that 3 weeks would have been heroin, right? And I only saw it because I reconcile on like the 3rd of the month. If you are waiting more than 30 days, after a certain time period, banks are gonna say, you waited too long, sorry. That's just the way it is. They have time limits. So you should be reconciling the last month as close to the 1st of the month as you can. The things that you need to keep for a bank reconciliation. You need to keep the bank statements, print off an electronic statement. I personally keep a paper copy and an electronic copy of every statement. You should have copies of canceled checks. Usually they're on the statement, and that's fine. And then you keep the reconciliations with their corresponding statements, so anyone who looks at them can clearly see that they match. Does everyone know how to reconcile a bank account?
Can you go over it?
And everyone knows what that means? I know that's a silly question, but
Can you go over it?
yeah. So basically, what you do is you look at the bank statement and you run it through your accounting software or whatever and match whatever is in QuickBooks or Excel, whatever you use, and make sure that everything that's on the statement matches the deposits and the things that come in and out. And they just have to match. So you go through, you click, all the things are on there, it says 0 difference, and you're good, you're reconciled.
Makes sense, it's what I do when I balance a checkbook.
Yes, it's balancing a checkbook, that's exactly what
Just
it
wanna make
is.
sure I wasn't missing anything.
I haven't thought about balancing a checkbook in a while. Okay. You should be preparing a treasurer's report every month. It should be the balance sheet, an income statement, otherwise known as a profit and loss, and then quarterly a budget versus actual. So the balance sheet is a quick snapshot of your club's finances. It's your assets equal your liabilities plus your equity, and those numbers should match up. You can do a balance sheet for any day, and it's just a snapshot of a moment in time of your club's finances. Profit and loss is deposits and disbursements, and it's net income for the period of the report. Those are typically monthly, the July profit and loss, and it'll show you net income or if you're in the red for the month. And those should be done monthly. And then quarterly, you can do your budget versus actual. How much is budgeted, how much you've actually spent out of that line item in the budget. Questions about those? Like I said, balance sheets and P&Ls should be shared at the board meeting and with the club members at your monthly business meeting. The only exception I would say is sometimes you wait for July and do July and August and September because you're still trying to wrap up the last fiscal year, and so or you have a new treasurer and they need a little time to get on their feet, sometimes waiting and doing July and August at the September meeting is okay. You know, but for the most part, you need to be doing this every month. Everyone in your club should be aware of the club finances. Anyone who wants to look at them is allowed to look at them. Okay? They're not a secret. Most people don't want to look at them. Most people don't understand how to look at them. But if anyone wants to, they can. Yeah,
I
Kathy.
have a quick question. So before our business meeting each month, we used to put our finance, because our treasurer does go through and does all of those things, and we go over them at the business meeting. So they always would publish them in our e-blast, but then we realized our e-blast is going out to the region, and it's also going out to past members and people who've been guests. Would you suggest that that's not the best place to put all of your finances out there? I mean, in my mind, they're not all gonna click on it, but.
Well, you're a nonprofit, so it's actually public information. But I don't think you have to put them in there. I suppose you could.
Well, we were just doing it so the members could see it, but then we
Yeah.
thought, well, maybe the protected part of our website would be better.
Yeah.
You never know when there's maybe somebody who came as a speaker or a guest, and they're like, wow, look how much money they have. I need to get in this group and work my way up and
Right.
steal it all, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's rare, but it could happen.
Right. Yeah, if you could put it in a protected part, I would just do that for anyone who wants to look at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Budget versus actuals, my club only does that quarterly because if you're seeing the monthly, income through the P&L, the BVA, I don't know, you don't need to see that every month. It's not something you need to prepare. So you can if you want to, but it's not really necessary. Okay, question about treasurer's report. Okay, accounting. So you just need to use something that works for you. There's a couple of different things you can use. Most clubs use QuickBooks. Raise your hand if you're using QuickBooks right now. Okay, either online or desktop. Okay. If you have complicated finances, if your club has a lot of members or a lot of money, QuickBooks is a better idea. It does everything for you. It's a little complicated to learn, but once you learn, it'll do your laundry if you wanted to. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I haven't got it to do that, almost.
Listen, when you figure it out, let me know.
No kidding.
So there are pros. It generates the reports that you need. It just does, you click on a thing, you tell it the time period, and it just makes it for you, and it's just lovely. But it can be intimidating to someone who's new to accounting. Now, to make you feel better, I have never taken an accounting class. It's okay. You will learn. You'll figure it out. YouTube is your friend when it comes to QuickBooks. Google is your friend. It'll tell you anything you want to know. They will tell you anything. Reddit is your friend. I have learned a lot from the QuickBooks subreddit. A pro and a con is that you can go back and change pretty much anything in QuickBooks to suit your needs. Which is great if you're new to it because you don't feel like you're locked in on something if you make a mistake. But CPAs hate that, just so you know. It is what it is. So try not to do that. Journal entries are a great way to change things rather than just deleting entries, but you can. It's very flexible. Yeah.
Do you have a certain version that you have for nonprofits to use? Because I use an extensive version for my business, and I saw that they've never used it, right? I'm just getting ready to get it.
There's a nonprofit version. That's what the
There
region
is?
uses.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Although, is there for QuickBooks Online, I don't know if there's there might be.
I have to research that.
I don't remember.
I haven't been in TechSoup forever, but I know
Yeah.
that they are doing their best to try and get rid of the desktop
yeah,
version.
Yeah, they are. We're about to switch to online, so, yeah.
Speaking of exactly that, QuickBooks apparently has said they don't support the local version anymore, it's only the online.
Okay,
Is there
that's,
a worry about that, about losing all data and that sort of thing?
oh no. If it's on your desktop, unless the program crashes,
They
because
can't
they
take
stop
it away.
supporting it, it'll still work fine. But then if you try and upgrade to a new version, they're gonna bump you into online.
Yeah.
But you can get on the phone with them and they will help you and they will help you migrate everything over.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty painless process if you get QuickBooks to help you.
Do larger clubs, our club did this years ago, do they ever outsource to a bookkeeper?
Sometimes they do, but I think that's a waste of your funds, personally. It's not, you can keep it simple enough that anyone should really be able to do it. And it should be simple enough that anyone can read the reports, right? If you make it too complicated, then people don't know what's happening in them, and you want people to be able to know what's happening with your finances. You can keep things pretty simple. I don't.
The year-end accounting is what, or not the year-end reporting is what we send to somebody else to do. But that, you're keeping that separate from the accounting itself, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can send like an accountant's version, to someone and they can work, and finish, close out and all that. Yeah, I think that's fine. If you are a smaller club and you are working with a much smaller amount of money, less numbers, Excel works fine. Just like you can use Excel to set up a budget, you can use Excel to set up, it will generate reports for you. I've never personally done it, so I don't know how, but there are people I could find to help you if you needed help with that. It's a very simple thing, but it doesn't automatically make the reports you need, I guess. But Google it. Anytime you have a question, guys, you all know that Google is your friend, right? They'll tell you anything you want to know. Is anyone using Excel? Okay, yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and you know what? If it works for you, that's fantastic. You just have to have something that works for you in your club. So, yeah.
Our accounts were set up to make it as difficult as possible for anyone in the world to do it except one person, 10 or 12 years ago.
Correct.
And then she quit.
Right.
And I've done QuickBooks and I couldn't do it.
You couldn't make heads or tails.
No, it's so many layers to drill down to post one thing.
Yes.
So I keep it on Excel, my documents, and then I give it to Pam Griever, who's our bookkeeper, and she puts it into Excel. And our goal is to make it, to simplify it eventually.
Yeah,
I should be able to do it,
yeah.
but the way it was set up, it's just.
And you know what?
We have money, so we have to keep track of it, but.
When things get really complicated, sometimes bringing in a bookkeeper then to go in and fix stuff is really helpful. But I wouldn't hire someone to do your monthly reports. You really don't need it.
You had another question?
Oh, another question?
I'm not sure, so I'm new, I'm the assistant treasurer for Sacramento, and I haven't thought about the QuickBooks part, because Idel does that, but I'm wondering, on a bigger scale and maybe on a micro scale, if there's a QuickBook training, like, that we could maybe put together to help.
There are thousands of QuickBooks tutorials on YouTube, on Google, on
probably
QuickBooks
nonprofit ones,
Online,
right?
all of
Right,
it.
but
There's
like a
tons.
concentrated, something that's maybe not so overwhelming to just, cause I know there's like a lot of.
There's that many that you can find exactly what you want.
Yeah.
It's been around a long time. Yeah. And if you do have questions, you can always call Evie, you can call me. I was actually gonna say QuickBooks, when I did it for a club, I actually set up our events as a job so that I could get a P&L just for the event.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a
Absolutely.
great idea.
So you knew what you spent, everything that you spent, everything that came in, and all of that, and and it was just an event.
say that again, you said just events, you set it up,
For the events, you use the jobs
jobs.
Or classes.
or
You can do it with
classes. Yeah, you can do it with classes or
That's
jobs.
starting to get a little
That's a little,
complicated.
yeah, that's an advanced,
Yeah,
that's an advanced.
But there is a
I
way to do
can
that.
take that, I can take that, so set up jobs or classes just for
Yeah.
the event itself.
Just
And
for the
you
event
can get a
itself.
P&L for that?
Yeah, and you know, I can talk to you about that further. Okay, we're running behind, so I'm gonna power on.
Sorry.
You're fine. Okay, finance committee. All of you are on the finance committee. Automatically, congratulations. I think it's the most fun committee to be on. I've been on it for years. The finance committee prepares the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And they also take a look at things for the year end. After the books have been closed on the fiscal year, then the finance committee usually gets together, or a small part of them, and does, we don't call it an audit, technically. They take a look at your books and make sure everything is good to go, matches up, no one walked off with any money. creating a budget. SIA has a sample budget that you can use if your club does not use a budget already. You should all have a budget if you don't. And SIA has one provided. I can also help with that. I've got multiple versions of budgets that I could show you. The region does theirs in Excel. It's super simple. There are two ways to do this. You can either prepare the final budget for the upcoming fiscal year and vote on it at the April or May business meeting, so it's in place on July 1st. Or if you want to wait until you know where you ended up on June 30th, and you're not going to know that until the end of July, mid-August, because people trickle in their receipts and stuff, you can put a temporary budget in place, a placeholder budget, with just enough money in the categories where you know you're gonna be spending money until September 1st, let's say. You know Dream and Be It's gonna need to buy a whole bunch of stuff to get ready for the school year, or you know that you have a fundraiser August 15th and they need to have money in order to buy the things for their fundraiser. You can have a temporary budget that just has those items on it so that you're covered for anything, any expenses you have, and then get together and create the final budget in the fall. Does that make sense? Okay.
That's what we do, because our major fundraiser's in May, so we don't get all the bills in until, yeah.
Yeah, it's much easier.
Works great.
Okay, if you have a process that works for your club, use it, okay? But remember, you cannot write a check without a budget, so you need to have a budget in place. Okay, using the budget. The budget has to be voted on by the members. The members need to know what is in the budget. You need to review the budget with the membership, and they need to vote to make sure that it is in place, that everyone agrees, or the majority of you. And again, expenditures should not exceed the budget. Now, it's a good idea to have two versions of the budget. My club does this. We have a detailed budget that is line by line by line, okay? So we'll have an admin section, and under admin is the post office box and stamps for the treasurer and what have you, okay? Paying for your meeting space, whatever. The membership doesn't need to see all that. It can be very overwhelming to see the line by line. So what you can do is you can have a simplified budget that just has the major categories. So dues, administrative costs, community support, and you can have the totals for those there, and that's what they're approving. Also, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Let's say that in your line by line budget, you have 5,000 set aside for meeting space, and you have, I don't know, 300 set aside for stamps or whatever. And you know it comes to be May, and you need a little bit more money for the meeting space, and you know you're not going to use all the $300 in stamps. If you're only having them vote on the simplified budget, you can move that money within that category, because the administrative budget is $8,000, let's say. And so as long as everything under admin is less than 8,000, you're fine. Does that make sense? It's easier. Budgets can be changed, budgets can be moved, but it can only happen with a vote of the membership. You cannot go, I need more money for stamps or whatever, I'm just going to increase the budget, yay. People need to know that it's happening and people need to approve it. Does that make sense? Okay. SIA does have a fillable form for your club audit, taking a look at the previous year's finances. This is part of risk management. You should be auditing the books every year, a small committee, just taking a look at the checks that have been written. Did they have 2 signatures? Do the reconciliations match the bank statements? Things like that. It's pretty simple to do. And they have a form that you can fill out and use, and you don't have to use the entire thing. Use the parts that work for you. A former treasurer should be on this committee, so there's at least someone who knows what's happening. It's easier that way. And the treasurers whose books are being audited should be there to answer questions, because sometimes people aren't gonna know exactly what it is and you can tell them. And you should be trying to do that by September. Also, and this is helpful, take the audit report, put it with the treasurer records that you audited, and make a copy and put it with your current year's books, because you'll be able to pull the numbers from that one for the next year end. You'll see what I mean when you look at the form, but it just makes it easier for you, because then you have some of the information you need all ready to go. You're starting, what's the word I'm looking for?
Balances.
Balance, thank you, you're starting balance, etc.
Is it a fillable form?
Yeah, it's super easy. Okay, you should be keeping records for 7 years. That's what the IRS says. I know clubs who keep records for much longer. I know that it's different for businesses too, but we recommend 7 years. And I would keep a paper copy of everything. You can also do a digital copy, that's fine, but then you better make sure everyone knows how to access it and don't have it on a thumb drive that gets lost. Put it in a cloud or something. Okay, we're gonna talk about this later. This piece of paper, it just tells you an overview of law and the IRS and you as a 501c3. There's only certain things that you're allowed to do as a 501c3 in regards to fundraising. It also covers some special circumstances, like if a club dissolves, what do you do with the funds? Things like that. It's just good to have a copy of this in your treasurer binder to refer to. Okay. Every club should have their own EIN. I cannot stress this strongly enough. There is a club that it's under, and I don't quite understand, but they're under some umbrella and they're trying to get a grant from Starbucks, and Starbucks won't write them the check because they're under the umbrella of SIA, so they'll only write the check to SIAs, but then if they write it to SIA and then SIA gives the money to the club, then SIA then has the income, and it's a big old mess. Just get your own EIN if you don't have it. It's a pain, you're gonna probably have to pay someone to help you do that, but I would suggest doing it if your club does not have one already. There should be a letter from the IRS that proves your tax exempt status and lists your EIN, and you should have it as the treasurer, and you should have a binder with all these important docs in them. Some clubs are incorporated. I don't really know much about that. SIA doesn't help with it. You need to have an attorney do it for you. I think it's only California clubs that can incorporate. I don't think Nevada clubs can. I don't know.
Yeah, they can.
Can they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't even know if any of them, it doesn't matter. Point being, I can't really help you with this. If you're interested in doing that, you need to talk to a lawyer, okay? Yeah.
I actually highly recommend that everyone gets a copy of that IRS letter and the EIN, because you, as a club member, can go to Costco and say, hi, can I get these things tax exempt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the treasurer is not the one that has to say, oh, we're tax exempt, why are you paying tax? Your club should not be reimbursing you for taxes. Because they don't have to pay taxes.
You mean
If
like
you're
on-
paying sales tax on anything, your club does not have to pay you back for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, can we go back?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, you really want to open that can of worms?
Well,
So if I'm purchasing something from Costco for the club, I can.
you can try. You can get a club membership,
Right.
and that will be tax exempt.
Yeah.
If you go to Walmart, you can get a tax exempt card at Walmart and say, these items are being bought for the club, and they will not charge you sales tax on them.
Some places are gonna give you
Sometimes it's
pushback.
hard, yeah.
But you can try, she's right, but some places are gonna give you pushback.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because
I'm
they're gonna,
using an individual Costco card, getting one for the club specifically.
I haven't actually gotten a Costco card, but I know you can. But it does cost you. I mean, it's not free.
right, yeah.
It's not
I don't know if it's worth Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it at Costco unless you're doing a big event pretty often.
I don't think a caterer will give you tax free.
Yeah, it's,
Think about where your big expenses really are going. and
Exactly,
Might be
yeah.
worth it to just pay it.
yeah, I mean, you do what you can, it is what it is, so. Okay, moving on. You can solicit donations, of course, we are nonprofits, we solicit donations. When you solicit donations, do yourself a favor and try and not restrict them unless you absolutely have to. So, you know, your money goes to improve the lives of women and girls. Don't say, your money goes to our Dream of Be It program, because then, if they give you $100, you have to prove that you spent that $100 on your Dream of Be It program. And it's just an extra hoop for you to jump through. If you keep it general, it's so much less paperwork, it's so much easier, okay? Yeah,
Could you say, like if we're going to someone to get money to help sponsor a golf tournament, say, we're using the money to improve the lives of women and girls and, gosh, what was I just gonna say with it? And it may be used to, and it also will be used to give away to support local organizations type thing, something like that. You could do an and or an or.
I wouldn't even,
Oh.
I wouldn't even do that.
Well,
I wouldn't, because, okay, so all your clubs spend money on admin costs, right? You buy stamps, for example. Do those stamps help you improve the lives of women and girls? Yeah, they do indirectly, because you're using them to send letters to sponsors, what have you, whatever. But technically, like, even if it's a thank you letter for your Dream of Be It like, just don't restrict yourself, y'all. Just say, hey, this money's gonna go to a great cause improving the lives of women and girls. Ta-da. And just leave it at that. Like I said, keep it general. Okay, issuing receipts. If a donor wishes to claim a tax deduction, they are required to have a receipt from you. However, it's their responsibility to get the receipt from you. You don't have to give everyone willy-nilly a receipt, but if someone asks for a receipt and it's for a donation of over $250 or in kind, issue them a receipt so that they have that documentation to give to the IRS. Issuing receipts can be any one of these here. The name of your organization, your EIN is a good idea to have on it. Just a donor letter. Thank you for donating blah, blah, blah to Soroptimist International, blah, blah. EIN, blah, 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 blah. You know, whatever. If it's in kind, a description of what they gave you and a good faith estimate is fine. If it's not tangible. Okay. We've been saying this for years, and I think clubs are still doing it. You do not need to keep your service funds separate from your general funds. You can have one bank account that all the money goes into now. If something's earmarked, like I said, if it's a restricted donation, there needs to be documentation that those funds were used for that purpose, but you don't need to have them completely separated out. Your admin costs can come from the same kitty as your service funds, the money that you're giving for Live Your Dream, Dream of Be It, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we just paid dues. Everyone can get into the portal?
No.
If you can't, okay, if you can't get into the portal, come talk to me after.
Okay.
I would suggest paying dues online. If you can, through SIA, they are really pushing for that. It's much faster, and they don't work at Spruce Street anymore. They're all working from home. So that's why they switched to the lockbox. But if you're sending stuff to Spruce Street, it might take months for them to get it, okay? We just got an email, a very important update as far as SIA dues that I am going to share with you. SIA dues used to be due July 1st, meaning you could pay them before July 1st. That's no longer the case. Starting next year, they are payable starting July 1st and are due on or before July 31st. Okay? So you cannot pay your dues for 26-27 fiscal year on June 30th, 2026. The portal doesn't open. If you're paying by snail mail, sure, you can send it before then, because they'll get it after, and that's fine. But if you're paying online, because of Salesforce, the way it's set up, you can't do that. However, that means some of you, I know, most of us collect our club dues for the next fiscal year in April, May, June. So we have all the money ready to go to send to SIA, to send to SNR, et cetera. And so you are showing that those funds in the fiscal year prior to the dues period, and that's gonna mess you up. Especially now that you can't pay SIA dues until the fiscal year itself. So what I would suggest that you do in QuickBooks, for every time a member pays you dues, if you generate an invoice for them, and the invoice is dated July 1st or after, even if they give you their dues in April, you can put that money in the bank account, you can put it in QuickBooks as paid when they give it to you, but it's not gonna show up until July 1st on your P&Ls and stuff. That's how you get around that. And if anyone has more questions about that, I can help you with that, but that's the easiest way to keep the income and the disbursements for dues all happening in the same fiscal year as the dues are being paid. Yeah?
And on your balance sheet, will it show as a payable?
It'll show as an accounts receivable. It'll sit in accounts receivable, and then on July 1st, it magically appears in income.
If you've collected it though,
Mhm.
in advance,
Mhm.
then it's accounts payable.
Oh, yes, you're right, correct, thank you. Yes, accounts payable. But it'll magically move itself over on the date of the invoice, yeah. So just post date the invoice. Just talked about that. This is also really important. So there's always been late fees, okay? But those late fees were processed by, I believe, a human before, and now they're being processed by Salesforce. Now they're automatic. They automatically happen. So if you have not turned in your dues to SIA, they don't receive them by August 1st, there's an automatic late fee of $50. Goes on your account. It is what it is.
That's why you don't mail the check.
Yes. And if you do, call SIA and let them know it's coming so that they can make a note of that. If they don't have them by September 1st, it's an additional fee of $100, so it's actually gonna show up as $150 because you've already have that 50 from August, okay? If they do not have your dues by October 1st, they forfeit your charter. Pay your dues, guys, and also pay me as well. Okay, questions about this? Okay, there is a form for new members. Even if you pay dues online, you are supposed to fill this out and send it in, and I need a copy as well. It's called reinstated if they rejoin within the year of terminating membership. I know people that reinstate 5 years later, and that seems to be fine, so. But you do need the 5008 still.
So I have a quick
Mhm.
question. So, just going back very quickly for SIA dues, we have had emails that have, where they said, we agree with your records and we got your receipt but the system still shows that we owe. Are other people having that problem?
So moving into Salesforce, they have had, I just had this conversation with Aisha, actually, last night. They're having to customize it so much because it's
not made for that.
their fiscal year starts September 1st, like there's all this crazy stuff happening. So that's why it's taken so long to get everything in, and it's only getting better. The bugs are being worked out. So I would assume that that's a bug.
So, yeah, so don't worry about it, as long as we're having those conversations, side conversations, and we're in agreement,
Mhm.
then we don't have to worry about the system having the wrong numbers.
Yeah, I would say so, and if you notice that 6 months later is still wonky, shoot them another email and say this still isn't fixed. But if you have documentation that they agree with you, then I think you're fine. You can show that to them, so.
Especially if you get any feedback back of the, oh, we're gonna take out your charter you know, if you get any of those automatic,
Late fees, you know,
yeah, if you get
like-
any automatic,
Yeah.
make sure you contact them.
That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Is
There's
this
5 minutes.
system
Yeah.
is-
Hi, we have 5 minutes and I have so much left, sorry. Okay, if someone terminates, this is the form, 5010. Any,
Do we have to do that at the end of the year if they leave?
you can do it during the year if you
But I
want.
mean, if they leave and just don't renew, do we have to fill that out? Okay, as I never have.
Not for me. If you send SIA any money for any reason, there is a transaction form that you send in with it. This is all on the website. I am not going to spend too much time on this, but most SIA forms are also on the SNR website under member info, forms and documents. Also, the new member dues and contribution form is there. Bookmark the site, y'all. The amount of emails I get, hey, can you send me this form? Please bookmark the site. I will love you so much.
SAA forms are on the SNR.
Most of the ones that you need are, yeah. And if you, the SIA website's a little bit of a bear, so if you truly can't find something on there, Danielle or we can take it to you in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time there. So, but try the SNR website first. It's your friend. SNR dues are due to me by July 31st. If you have not sent me your dues, please come talk to me after. These are the things that I need. 4 annual dues, that's the ones that you do every July. I need an updated roster that matches the number of members that you are giving me money for. I can't deposit the check because that's essentially the receipt. Does that make sense? That it has to match. And I need the 5008s because I keep my own database of members. And I send the email addresses to the e-blast, and that's how they get the e-blast. Okay? If you don't want to fill out the 5008, you just want to send me your internal club roster, that's fine. I don't care. As long as I get name, address, phone number, email, join date, we're cool.
I have a question. So if we have a member who's changed their mailing address, do we fill out a form and send it to you? Or send you an updated?
Yeah, there's a member change form. The 5010 has that. Yeah. If you have a new member, if you add a new member in November or in February or in March, you have to pay for that member. Okay? We don't prorate SNR dues. They're $25 per member all year long, and I know when that doesn't happen because sometimes in July, magically a person has shown up on your roster that was never paid for last year, and I can see that they joined in February, and I wag my finger at you. We need that money, we use that money to run the region. It's not for funsies. You need to send us the money. It's part of your responsibility as a member, and it's part of your members' dues. If you're not sending it to us, that's not good faith. This is what you have to send to me throughout the year. You know what, the only thing, if you have a member join in June, y'all, just wait and make their join date July 1st. Don't make them pay member dues and then pay member dues again a month later. And I'm trying to close out my books too, so don't send me dues in June. Okay, it's easier that way. Okay. Taxes. November 15th is your deadline. Even though you are tax exempt, you have to file tax forms every year. If you do not, they will pull your 501c3 status, and we'll talk about what happens then. For federal, there are 3 forms that you can use. These are just an overview. I'll go into each of them really, really fast. Okay, here's the difference. You use the 990 if you have $200,000 or more on gross receipts for the year. The EZ is what this says here. Your assets also have to be below $500,000. I would assume that this is most clubs. If your gross receipts are normally less than $50,000, you can file the postcard. This is done online, okay? But you need to look at all of the criteria carefully before choosing this option. It's the easiest one, but not everyone can use it. Okay. You have to file your taxes by November 15th. If you don't do it for 3 years, they'll pull your tax exempt status, and it's happened. It's happened while I've been treasurer, and It's not fun for anyone involved. If you lose it, every single bit of money after you have lost it, and they're not gonna send you a letter and tell you you've lost it necessarily, it's just gonna be gone. If you fundraise and as a 501c3, and you don't have that anymore because you haven't paid your taxes in 3 years, you now have to pay taxes on all that money. And you're representing yourself as a charity and you're not one anymore, which is illegal. So if you don't know if your taxes have been filed, if you're worried about that, you can go online and you can check. Or you can ask me and I can go online and check. You can call the IRS and check. They're very nice people. I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with them, but they're very nice people. They get a bad rap, but they're not bad people. You can regain your status. It takes a while. They will help you. There's a substantial fee. Okay. For the state, there's the 199. Basically, you use this if you use the 990 or the 990 EZ. You use the e-postcard typically if you are doing the 990 hen. Okay? If you are, you have to file this every year with the Attorney General. Everyone has to. It's just a registration. There's a fee involved. There's also an additional form if you file the e-postcard, and that's only because when you do the e-postcard, there's some information that is missing, and they need that information, so you just file this extra form and it has the information that they need. It's pretty simple.
When are these forms due, the California ones?
November 15th. Yeah, if your fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th, it's always November 15th. Yeah. If you are having a raffle in California, there's 2 forms you need to fill out. One of them is before the raffle, and one of them is at the end of the year. If you're in Nevada, there is a different form. It's very simple. I fill it out every year. It's super easy. If you intend to conduct a raffle during a calendar year, you send in the form. There's a fee of $30, and it covers you for the entire annual or the entire calendar year. If you have a raffle and they find out about it and you haven't filed this form, they're gonna ding you. And I think they have people online looking for the word raffle. It's happened. It happened in my club. We are so behind. I'm gonna keep going until you kick me out. Okay? Got it?
I'm not so sure.
Well.
I'm kidding.
Okay, the Nevada one's really easy. You can find it online. You fill it out, you email it to these people. They email you back in 30 minutes, and ta-da. It's really lovely. There's also Secretary of State filings that you need to do. And I would say go online and download this PowerPoint when it's available, probably in a week or so. Or less. And you can click on all these links, but there are these forms.
And that's when the Secretary of State.
Yeah, and the California one is only for incorporated clubs. So if you're not incorporated, you don't have to do this. And then for Nevada, it's kind of wonky. There's 2 different ones, and it has to do with this Assembly Bill 50, and you have to go in and read it, so. Okay. Moving on, sorry. Oh, sales tax. If you sell anything for a profit, you have to pay sales tax in the state of California clubs. You gotta pay it quarterly. It's simple to do. Even if you didn't sell anything in that quarter though, once you have the business license that says that you need to pay sales tax, even if you didn't sell anything in that quarter, you still have to go in and file it every quarter, even to pay 0. You can't miss the filing, okay? For Nevada, there's an application. You do it every 5 years. You keep a copy of it and keep it moving.
For real?
Oh yeah, honey. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm getting close to the end. Good. Okay, alcohol sales. There is the daily license application for the California ABC. There's a lot of hoops to jump through if you're going to sell alcohol. which is fine, but you need to make sure that you're doing all the things, you're submitting it far enough in advance. It requires the property owner's signature and usually police approval as well. So you have to do all that and then send it to ABC before that 10 to 30 days before your thing. So you should be starting this like 2.5 months before if you can, just to make sure that you have everything in place, because we know how long agencies can take to do things. The daily fee is $75 if it's beer and wine only. It's $50. You have to have a separate license for each separate event. And Nevada went away. Nevada is by county. You have to check with your local county. It's different in every county. Okay, here's your websites again for that. We're gonna talk about insurance really, really fast. We pay insurance through our dues. We are covered. It's like $9 per member or something. There's an insurance handbook on SAA. I highly recommend that you have a member download it and read it and become your insurance czar. It's gonna tell you everything you need to know. I don't work in insurance, and I don't work for SIA, and I don't work for Pacific Ag. So I can help you find forms, but I can't really answer questions about the ins and outs of this stuff. There is also insurance that you can choose to buy. It's the D&O insurance, also known as management liability. And this protects the clubs and the officers against legal claims. It's $1 million per club. It's optional for clubs, but it's strongly recommended. It's $300 a year, and it runs from about the middle of May to the middle of May. They renegotiate it every year. I highly suggest you have this because it will protect especially your board of directors. If someone leaves one of your events and they crash their car and they say they served me too much booze or whatever, they can sue your board of directors directly. I'm almost done. Okay, and you have to renew it annually. There is a contact. You can also get crime insurance coverage. That's up to you. It's optional, of course. Okay, questions? Hey, I'm only over by 7 minutes. I did pretty good. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I really need 2 hours.